Hello, everyone. You're listening to How We Heal, the podcast. I'm Kira Noel, medical intuitive, your host. Our sponsor is themedicinebuddhawithin.com. Intuitive training for all. Check out the website and register and be invited to all the upcoming trainings. Now let's begin our show. I want to welcome you to How We Heal the podcast. Today, my guest is Laurie Schwartz, the co-founder of Circle of Friends for the Dying. She's one of the early leaders of the hospice movement in the United States. In 1979, she co-founded and directed what is now Hudson Valley Hospice, and she's been recognized by Hudson Valley Hospice and ARCS as a dynamic visionary and social activist. I am so grateful you could do this today, Laurie, and the point of this podcast is for you to share how you got to be you and bring your unique vision to all of us. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. So I want to thank you for inviting me here. I am very thrilled to know that you've taken this on to spread the word of what people do in their lives to inspire others. And I hope whatever I have to offer today will move someone into some kind of action around something they've been wanting to do.
That's very well said. So the audience may or may not have heard of the work you do. I was familiar with it, but we are also neighbors and what you've presented to the world. So, let's talk a little bit about how you started having an interest in this type of work.
Okay. So there's a belief that people's passion later in life come out of something that happened earlier in life. So earlier in life, when I was around 18 years of age, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And at that time, 1960, cancer was the big C. You weren't supposed to tell anybody you had it because you could catch cancer at that time. We had no idea what it was, and it was beginning to pop up around us. So my mother told both me and my sister that we cannot tell my father that he had cancer, and we actually could not tell anyone. So that was pretty difficult to live with because at 18, I was becoming socialized and I had friends and I couldn't tell my friends why I was acting so strange or why I had to go home early. There was a lot of lying going on. And then faced with this with my father, my mother told him that he had arthritis and was taking experimental pills for arthritis. And I knew that wasn't so. In fact, I learned about my father's diagnosis when a neighbor came and asked my mother for the results of the blood test. And my mother said it was positive, it metastasized. And my sister and I looked at each other. We had no idea what that word meant. It sent me right to the dictionary where I figured out what that meant and that my father was dying. And that's when my mother said, we can't say anything. So at that early age, I realized there had to be a better way to do this because the way it was done to me and my sister and my father and my mother, it wasn't normal. I mean, normalization in the olden days when we were just pioneers walking across the valley, people died right in front of us and we took care of them while they were dying and we went through the process with them and then we buried them and then we continued our journey. Yes, we mourned. Yes, we experienced grief. However, we also lived our lives. Here now in 1960, that wasn't happening. In those days, death was removed from our homes. Along the line, we developed funeral homes, or what were called then funeral parlors, because in the olden days, death took place in the home, and in the parlor of the home is where people came to pay their respects. So it went from the home parlor to the funeral home parlor. And so we distance ourselves from dying and death early on. This movement that I became part of, which is called, I'll call it the early death movement, happened because we realized we had to bring death out of the closet. It was hidden away for too long. So out of that movement developed the concept of hospice in America. Hospice actually started during the Crusades when people were on the road and they were killing each other, right there. And people who were not part of the warring would take these people in, and they showed them hospitality. So that was the first opening of the word hostel and hospital and hospice.
Wow. Great history.
Yeah. So hospice started there, and then it moved to England officially as hospice, and then it came to America in Connecticut as hospice in 74, and then we did hospice in Ulster County in 1979.
And
So
tell
that's
us,
how I got involved.
wow, well, that's a huge story that your whole family had this secret they had to keep.
Yes,
And that must have been a horrible way for your parents and your father to end his life. I mean, to not be in communication and discussing everything.
exactly.
And I'm recalling you were talking about going west, the pioneers in our country, how the burial, the funeral, and the grieving, it was all normalized. Aren't there some books historically of people in caskets going across the West as they died? They would take photographs and make booklet. There's black and white photographs of, those who have passed away. So, Laurie, you're talking about hospice. Tell the listeners, what is hospice what does that mean exactly?
Before I get there, I just want to say one thing about those caskets that were going across the lands. That's why embalming started, because before that, people were buried right away. But during the Civil War and some of that movement across the country, the body would either have to be refrigerated, which was not possible, or embalmed. That's why today in 2026, we really do not need to embalm bodies. That's just a little aside.
Good point.
Okay.
It's not little. I get it. Yeah, but
The
so
the
what does hospice mean?
hospice is a philosophy of living and dying. So it's not a building. It's not a book. It's a philosophy of care. It can take place anywhere. It could take place in your home, in a nursing home, in a homeless shelter, circle home, which I can talk about in a minute. I don't know if I mentioned hospice. It can take place anywhere as long as the person is dying, officially dying, with an illness that would cause their death within 6 months.
Okay. So that's
That's a
thank
minute,
you.
right? You have to be 6 months away from your actual death in order to be eligible for hospice services. Now, Circle Home is one of the places that people could go to while they're dying if they have no one to care for them.
And that's the place, that's what you co-founded.
Correct.
And
So
where is that located?
Circle Home is on Wirt Street in the Rondout section of Kingston. It's in a beautiful house that was built in 1898, I believe. It's about 4,500 square feet.
Wow.
The house was given to us by this very amazing, gracious man, Jim Gulke, and his family, because Jim was dying. And he was part of a support group that Elise Lark was running. Elise was a co-founder of Circle of Friends for the Dying, along with Barbara Sarah and myself. And Jim knew about Circle Home's need for a house. And because he had the funds to pay for 24/7 care, and knew most of the people in his support group did not, and they were also, most of them, dying, he gave us his home. And it's amazing. I mean, people should just come to see the beauty of it. So it took us 2 years and a lot of money to renovate it. We had to change doorways. We put in an elevator because when people come in and they're dying. So in order to be in our home, you have to be under hospice care and about 3 months away from dying, determined by hospice, not me, not you, them. So this type of care is called comfort care for the dying. It started in 1984, I believe, in Rochester, New York. It's particular to New York State.
Yay, New York State.
New York State has these homes, which, when I say New York State, I mean the people. It's the people who run this thing. It's not, the government does not fund us at all. We get no funding from insurance, from the government, Medicaid, Medicare, none of that. We get our funding from your listeners or,
Wow.
yes, or private foundations, but we don't get funding from the government.
Hence, it's still open.
Oh, yes, it is open. It is open. We've managed. So
Right.
I will put a plug in here for the Community Foundation of Ulster County, for the Novo Foundation, and for others who have graciously taken some of their funds and channeled them through us.
That's beautiful.
We accept people's homes. We will accept your home. We will help you take care of everything that's inside of it, and then we will sell it for you, and we will put the money into our residents' ability to live till the end of life in our home.
Beautiful. And do you use volunteers to take
Ye-
care of the individuals that are staying there?
Yes, we have two basic types of volunteers. One is one who gives care hands-on. They do hands-on care as if it were someone in your home, because the idea of our home is we have a home that you will come and live in. It becomes your home and we become your family. And that's how hospice can come in, because we're now the family taking care of you. Now, who is that family? That family are 3 staff people who are our administrator, our coordinator volunteers, and our executive director. And then we have caregivers who are paid, and these are experienced caregivers, aides. And then we have volunteers who take part in our training and learn how to do this and do it with our residents in support of the aides, right?
Mhm.
Who are then able to do this for their own people when their own people need it.
Are there physicians coming in occasionally?
Well, we're not a medical facility, so
Right, right,
they they don't come in, but hospice comes in, and hospice has the medical people.
right.
Sends their nurse, hospice sends their social worker, their music therapist. I mean,
So it's
they've
collaborated. Yeah,
totally a partnership.
yeah, you've made a partnership. How did they I mean, that's a huge idea to manifest out of zero help from government, from insurances, from, the typical ways that places that support health would be funded. And that must have been a big hurdle to get over, to get, the funding flowing. That's a really tough thing.
Well, yes, it has been tough and it will continue to be tough. It's not something that ever ends, I hate to say. I wish I could say, yes, we've got all our funding and we'll be here for the next 40 years. But no, every year we have a budget we have to meet. So how does it happen? Well, it happens for me a few ways. I have been called, as you read, Hospice called me in 19, I don't remember what, a dynamic visionary. Thank you very much. I accept that. I definitely accept that it's been acknowledged, because that's part of who I am. It's not something that I went out and got. I'm going to say that we all are born with certain abilities,
I
and
like
one of
that.
my abilities is to manifest. Thank you very much, whoever put that into my being.
I love it.
So, in order to manifest something for me, I have to have the vision of it. Then
Mhm.
I live in the vision as if it's real. And I do that by saying, okay, like for the first Hospice Association of Ulster County, with 10 other people, we created what became what it is now over the years. How did we do it? Because we knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to help people who were dying. So we held that close to our heart. And we did whatever was needed to do in order to have that vision filled. So one of the things that there is that I love, it's Everett Rogers' theory of diffusion. How do you diffuse an idea? Like, so we had an idea of this particular thing. How do we do it? It's about enrolling others in it. How do you enroll somebody in it? Well, first of all, you have to realize that you're the visionary. Not everybody has this vision, and I'm not the only one. 10 other people had the vision and we all work together. You have the vision and you start innovating. How do you innovate? You talk to people. And then every once in a while you find somebody say, oh yeah, that's really a great idea. What can I do? Right?
Mm,
You put them
connected,
to work.
right.
Those, according to his theory, are called the early adopters.
Mm.
There are those people who will jump right in. Then those people start talking and the word spreads, and that goes to what's called the early majority. So now we have more people involved. And that goes out to the late majority. Maybe in 10 years, they'll finally discover what hospice is. But then there are the laggards. I love this group. The laggards. These are the people who it's not important. No, I don't want to know about, you know what you do with them? You just thank them and walk right past. So once you understand who you're talking with, then you've got your alliance.
That's a beautiful thing. You're talking my language because I've always said, whoever you are, in order to be that, you have to hold that truth and don't let go. And don't let go, meaning you carry that candle and you don't put it out no matter what, no matter ups and downs that come, you hold the light there and you keep forward. You keep going forward. And I like the theory of it. I love the laggards too. How many people have said this will never happen and here you are? And in my private practice, how many people have said, oh, well, medical, what? Intuitive? What are you, crazy?
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. And this is what I am. So it's not for you. It's okay. No,
Right.
it's okay. I love that, Laurie. I mean, you went right from talking about why you started this to how you activated it. And how many years did it take to become a place in this process?
Well, at least Barbara and I started in 2012 when we got incorporated. That's a while ago.
Yeah.
And then we went through the process of raising money. We bought one house, which really wasn't perfect for us when we didn't start renovating. And thank goodness, then COVID happened. So we couldn't renovate it. And then we sold it. And then we were given this house. So it's process. We could have given up along the line quite a few times. However, when you recognize the fact that we all are dying, which we are,
Right.
and many of us do not know how to do it, even though it's a normal, natural process. Many of us don't know what our choices are at that stage of life. So knowing that, we just keep going because it's a simple matter of education. So in that respect, right now we give workshops. We give a workshop on advanced healthcare directives, and many people don't know what that is. And I'll very simply say it's an umbrella. Advanced directives is an umbrella. Under the umbrella, you have a couple categories. You have who's going to speak for me when I can't speak for myself. That's your proxy. You have a category called what are they going to say for me? And that's your living will. Then you have categories like what's a DNR or who's going to sign for my car payment if I'm in the hospital and can't do it. I mean, there's lots of ways that we help people with their advanced directives. We also have death cafes, which we've been doing since 2013, which is a conversation with other people about anything related to dying, death, grief, bereavement, or anything in the process.
That's a lot of offering for people to be educated.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Anyone listening, laggards included, you want to be contributing to this because you will one day want to have the option of going to this place that is going to love you all the way.
Exactly.
How many people can be in the at once? How
Well,
many people who are in hospice?
I was saying earlier that this model of care is particular to New York State. So it's just 2 people at a time. So while you cheered New York State before, we're going to look at that again. I want to cheer them for allowing us to take on more than 2 people, but right now it's just 2 people at a time.
Okay.
More than 2 people, they want us to call to be a hospice, which we're not.
Okay, and legislation is part of the change for you? Do you have
It
to
would
get
be. It would have to be somehow changed. I'm not sure yet. I didn't want to rock the boat yet while we're, up and coming. So we'll wait a while on that.
Okay, that's a to be determined, but that sounds like, yeah, depending on, of course, the administration that we are dealing with
Right.
in the state, whether
Right.
that would be, favorable. So I'm sure, Laurie, there's a lot more to your life than this, that you have come to this from that experience as a child. And for me, listening to you, I would imagine that it takes a lot of focus to have manifested this. But I know from knowing you a little bit that you've manifested more than this, that you've, raised children and now have beautiful grandchildren and contribute to society in many ways. And I'm just, how did this fit into that life when you started? I mean, did it take over what you did otherwise?
It slowly crept in. Yes, I would say it took over. My office, which I'm sitting in, is surrounded by everything related to what I've just said to you. My computer, which is my computer, hardly has anything that personal on it. It's mostly about Circle of Friends. My husband and children will tell you that I work at this too many hours and
Well,
too much. And I say to them, it's as if somebody were writing a novel or painting a painting. That's my pleasure. It's like, this is how I fulfill my creative impulse. So to think I'm working hard, I am not working hard. I work many hours. No, I do not get paid, and it's all volunteer. And again, as I said earlier, when you're in your passion, you're not looking for the money. You're looking for the fulfillment. And I'm totally fulfilled.
that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, you're describing finding that part of us that we want to give voice to that brings that help to others, which I think intuitive connection is about realizing you have a contribution to make. I call it the missing piece of our human puzzle. And if we don't bring that piece to each of us and give it to the world, we're all going to suffer from the lack of it. So anyone listening, bring that piece of your puzzle to us, both having the ability to find it and clarify it and stick with it no matter what. That's, that's what you've done, and that's what makes you special. You know, I think of clarity and bringing your own personal voice to the world is a rite of a birth. I do not think it should be special. I think it should be a given that each of us has unique ideas, and we should be fostered so that we can create those ideas and give the world change. But you have to have a certain kind of life to bring that forward. So it sounds like you have a supporting cast in your family.
I do. I definitely do. I mean, we're at the age now where we are supposed to be retired, and people ask me, "Are you retired?" I say, "No, I just work and don't get paid." It's interesting because I don't think I found it. I think it found me. I think it found me because of my experience when I was younger, because my plea was, there has to be another way. There has to be another way. Right? When I was realizing that I was living a lie and my family were all lying to everybody, I kept saying, there has to be another way. So I feel it found me. So what I also realized, and this is pretty funny, when I was being brought up, my choice in life was to be a teacher or probably married or something like that. Well, I chose to be a teacher. We didn't really hear much about other professions, but I realized I'm a fixer. I love to fix things. I'll take things apart. I'll put them back together. If something's broken, I'm the first one that stands up to see how to fix it. Somebody told me that what I am is a social engineer. And I love that.
That's a great frame for it. I was
Yeah.
thinking of engineer.
Yeah. An engineer sees what's missing and puts it in place. And I've done that 3 times. And it's like, okay, that's enough. It's enough. Now I'm really ready to retire to play with the grandchildren. But as I said, I don't think I went looking for this. I really did not go looking for this.
Well, I like that you said it found you. My work life and my passion are the same. I've been working for myself for over 30 years, and I feel like I do not go to work. I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And I
Sure.
never feel like I don't ever think of I want to stop. I'm like, why would I want to stop? I love what I do. I care so deeply about it. I want to continue. Laurie, when you were a teacher, what did you teach?
I taught elementary school and then middle school reading, and I also taught art.
Wonderful. Art. Very enriching.
But it wasn't until I started doing trainings in hospice. We developed the training and then we gave the training. That's when I realized, okay, I'm an educator, not a teacher. I'm an educator of adults, not children who sit and make noise all day long and jump out of their seats.
Yeah, thanks for watching the kid while I went to work, right?
Right?
That's what school is for everyone. Yeah. Wow, educator. And you said it's not a paid position, but the foundation, is it your corporation or your foundation?
We're a 501c3, a nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
Yep.
So your nonprofit has paid professionals.
We have 3 paid professionals.
Yeah. Your teaching aside, what else do you do? What do you do for fun now that you started the Death Cafe and you do teach, you bring all this information to people, you run a facility for people in the estate last stages of living. How does Lori have fun?
Well, some of that is fun for me, believe it or not. That is some we'll say that. For fun, I play pickleball, I play tennis, I play the flute, I play a little percussion. I
Nice.
love to play games. I play Upwards and Scrabble and cards. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you have a well-rounded relaxation time, relaxing, hopefully. Yeah, so I think the idea of the death being something we openly, be with and go through with loved ones and not categorize it as abstract and bizarre and put it over in a funeral home or a building where you don't see any of your family or extended family. Yeah, that whole idea, the cultural concept of how we handle death is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. It really is. I think death is such an important part of living. Just to really appreciate the moments, all of it,
Yeah.
the cycle. Yeah,
Exactly, because you don't know ever when that moment's gonna come where you hear the knock on the door or the telephone's gonna ring and you're gonna hear something you wish you weren't hearing, and it happens to all of us. It's happened to me. It's probably happened to you in the past.
yeah,
And then acknowledging that it happened to us in the past. And look at us. We're sitting here having a life. We're living. We're having fun. We're smiling. Not that we don't miss the person. Of course we miss the person. Not that we don't have to regenerate our lives. We have to recreate a life. A life is not the same after someone is no longer in it. New things have to take place. And that's hard for some people. That's why we need support. But the reality is, though, if you appreciate the fact that everybody dies, then those conversations and those relationships in your life become more meaningful.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is very important to have awareness and consciousness so that we can help each other get through every phase. And this is, there are transitions we're all going to make, and one of them is dying. And yeah, it shouldn't be an unknown at all. It has to be like front and center. I've been practicing Buddhism, as well as Judaism for 40 years. And the first thing I've been trained to think about every day when I get up is death.
Mm.
The Buddhists are very focused on acceptance of the simple beginning, middle, and end, and understanding that the form of who you are will change, and not to delay understanding that. Make sure you're very aware of it. And it actually magnifies the value of the being alive in a body. It takes us to like, wow, I'm good today. Like you when you started about your health, that you're feeling well. So things are good.
Exactly.
Great way to evaluate us and see what we have is so precious.
Right.
So you're when someone is staying in the facility in the house, I'm going to call it a facility,
Home.
and they have families who want to visit. Does that happen?
Oh, yeah. In fact, one of the people we have now, his wife is visiting him every day. We have a room she could sleep over in. It's a guest room, family room. She cooks for him some nights. She holds his hand. It's very, very sweet. So, yes, they can stay over if they need to.
Beautiful.
You were talking before about one of the things that we don't plan on is dying. And if you look back, you've got children. We do research. What nursery school should they go to? What primary school? What college should they go to? They're getting married. What venue should they go to? Where should the reception be? I mean, we do all that research until we get to the age of retirement. People don't even think about retirement, let alone dying. So it's the last stage of life, that whole retirement dying part. People just want to stay away from, which
Yeah.
is it's kind of sad in a way if you think about it, because that's when you can really live your life, when unfortunately, that you don't have that much time left.
There is that, especially I've seen more in the female female types, that there's an acceptance of that. What do we call it? The last quarter. I'm in the last quarter. I'm going to do everything I wished I wanted to do and dreamt of, and the bucket list comes out. And it's not even, you're not thinking when I get sick or die. You're saying, I am going to die soon. So
Right.
let me get ready and enjoy what I've got left here. It's a
Right.
lot easier, I think, for women culturally to accept that idea. Well, of course, because many of us give birth. And I think that turns the light on for all of us. So, Laurie, and if somebody wants to contact you, how will they do that?
Well, Circle of Friends has a phone number, which is 845-802-0970.
Right.
Our website is circlehome.org because we're a nonprofit. You'll see a list of our events. You'll see a list of our offerings. We have some information about advanced directives. It's a very informative site. You'll have a good time walking through it. And we're open. If someone wants to come and visit, it would be great to make a phone call first just to make sure things are fairly calm and then come and visit.
Great. That's fantastic. So when you're not talking about dying so where do you play pickleball? In the area? One of the local places?
Yes, well, outside at Lauren Park and at the Y.
Oh, at the Y. I've heard about the one at the Y. I haven't been to Lauren Park. I'm a tennis girl. I haven't found pickleball yet.
Where do you play tennis?
Over on Xena Road at the Woodstock Tennis Club.
I used to belong there, but now I have a friend who has a court and she invites me to play with her. So thank you very much. I'll do that.
I think that's great. That's great. I know it's a great community. There are a lot of us are, tennis. The one thing about tennis, you can play it until you die.
Right.
We slow down and we still play.
Right. True. True.
Well, thank you so much for today. I want to say we put the nail in the coffin, but
it's good to laugh. We say, even though people are dying, they still laugh. They still have a sense of humor.
a
It's
sense of humor.
someone.
Yeah, no, I've, myself, my parents and my sister died over 35 years ago, and I was relatively a young woman, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
It just did. It wasn't abstract. It was something I thought about in my life already. I thought about how when someone's going to pass, how will I deal with it? What would I do? What would I want done if it were me? I have those kinds of thoughts on a regular basis. I want to be aware. So thank you so much. I will visit the website. And of course, I will be a contributor,
Thank you.
which I don't think I am yet. So I'm going to tell it like it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an amazing support to give to all of us, whether we need or there are families and people we all know who need someplace to go. They just do. They need help and support. So thank you, Laurie, for being here and being available and giving the world this unique view that you have.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. All right, Laurie. Thanks. Bye. We want to thank the following people. Jennifer Maidman for original music. Listen to her on iTunes and Spotify. True English of Upstate Podcast Studio for sound and recording engineering. And all our executive producers. See you next time.